We're misfits, weird, bizarre, strange, ignored, and sorrowful at times. We were bullied, abandoned, beaten, assaulted, destroyed, and wounded to our core. We are survivors, here to stay, despite what they say, kicking life in the teeth and choosing it every day. Diva Daily Living encompasses a myriad of human engagements of life. Our topics have no limits. We do demand providing a safe space to hold for all survivors and lovers needing healing, support, and comfort. We're here to remind you that you matter and you can choose life today. I am literally not here for me. My Creator put me here for you. Diva Dori.
Hello, lovers! Welcome to our weekly Ruminations with God, and this is Diva Dori, and I am going to welcome Devo Greg Allen into the studio with us. Hello!
Hello to you and everybody else.
Namaste! I have missed you.
I miss you too. It's been a couple weeks, I guess. You had an interesting last show. It was awesome.
Yes, and I got to spend last Friday night with two other men other than you.
Oh, how about this? You're on a roll.
Well, who's going to complain, really, to have as much time with gorgeous men as I do? I can't. I got no complaints here, right? None.
Oh, my.
So what did your so just give me a synopsis real quick. How has Greg been for the last 2 weeks?
Just absolutely in a sense of joy and peace.
Nice. Okay.
I'm in one of those spots. You know the spot.
Oh, no, it's a sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
The
that
sweet
one.
Spot.
Oh, it's just been wonderful. I'm in Colorado, and the weather is just phenomenal.
Right.
The mountain breeze. When it's hot here, it's not hot. It's.
Oh yeah, just rub that in. I'm over here in like Ramona, which is part of San Diego, where it's a mountain area, and
okay.
It's crazy, freaking ridiculous during the days, but then it gets cool and cold at night. So yeah.
I would not have guessed. I would have thought the opposite. That San Diego was humid, no humidity, and all that hot, sticky stuff.
Some of sometimes there is humidity and sometimes there isn't. It's kind of hit and miss. It's very hit and miss, and I think in a lot of ways it depends on how close to the coast you are.
Oh, so, sure, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna I got distracted with something I needed to do, and I meant to do this while our video was playing, but for whatever crazy reason, my phone is acting like a pain in my tuchus. Hello, whoever. Yeah, it's not doing what I wanted. Do you ever have those moments, Greg, where you're just so impatient and you're like, work for me?
I used to.
Okay, so let's jump in here. All right, so our topic for tonight is art beyond boundaries, and specifically self-expression and what that means as an artist. And for those of you that are watching, our lovers out there, as it says in the little ticker banner thing going across the bottom, that our show is very, very inclusive. Our audience is part of our show. If you are watching right now and hearing my voice, you matter, and we want to hear what you have to say. So please feel free to leave a comment or a question for us. So first off, Greg, this topic here, I'm going to put up a quote of yours that I wanted to share with everyone, because you hit the nail on the head for me in regards to self-expression for art in this one quote. So it says, "Our art goes beyond boundaries. Our words, humor, laughter, spirit, sharing, whatever medium, we stand tall and we proclaim self-expression."
Yeah. Yes.
Now, I know what that means to me, but before I go into what it meant to me, you tell me for you, because this is your quote, and you tell me and everyone watching, where does expand on this for us?
It was almost personal. I sent that to you. I would think I was expressing something on one of your pieces or conversation we were having about art, and our mediums go beyond just graphics. Ours go into music, both of us. Comedy is huge. We're both crazy witty, and that all ties in
Yes.
to bringing out the spirit of how we are. Oh, I think it's a chosen. We're chosen. It's a gift. But everybody innately has this.
Oh, yeah.
Some don't want to enter the arena in fear of judgment from others. But we all are artists.
Right?
Like you said, give us a crayon and off we go.
You're teasing them. They haven't seen my quote yet. I haven't thrown it up there.
Well, that's coming. But a little segue. She hit it too on the head. But jumping off this one, there she goes.
Yeah, for those of you that are watching, this is the quote Greg is referring to. This is one I penned this during and similar to our conversation where you quoted that quote back to me in a reply. This came to me in reply to someone who claimed that they weren't an artist. And I said, oh, no. The only, because they're an adult. I'm like, the only adults that aren't artists are the ones that stopped coloring.
Yes.
Okay, that's just it. And if you're out there, if you're watching this, whether you watch it now or later, let me tell you, if you think you're not an artist, you simply haven't sketched or colored or painted something.
Yes.
That is it. Okay, I truly, like you were saying, I truly believe every single human soul breathing has an artist inside them.
Oh, it's true. We're born with it.
100%.
It's only taken away when somebody tells us it's silly.
Exactly.
And it's usually a parent, and then and then it disappears.
You know what's cool about what you just said, a parent or an adult or our what do you call it? Our peers. There's all these different things that can make us think that we're not artists. And Steven Spielberg, one of the things he talked about was when he was a little kid, his parents would allow him to color and draw on the walls of the house.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. That's
all over the house. He had carte blanche to literally use the walls of their house like a canvas. And and he has credited his parents for his imagination.
That reminds me, I walked around the corner in a kid. I have 3 boys, and when they were very little, my middle one, Tyler, I walked around the corner, and he was in diapers at that time, and he had the kitchen door, the refrigerator door open, and he was dropping eggs one by one on the floor, and I just stood back and let him do it because it was beautiful. The way it was falling and splattering on the floor, he just loved it. It was mesmerizing.
And that's what he was doing, right? Well, he was just watching.
I let him do the whole dozen eggs. Because it was beautiful. He was making art.
I love that. I love everything about that story because that's exactly the point. And this, when you sent me this, the thing I love, there's all over the place. I can go all over the place with this. Okay. So I'm going to try the best I can. Stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I started stand-up comedy 15 years ago or so. Paint. I sketch. A certified photographer, did photography quite some time, in a portrait studio, as well as some freelance stuff, poetry, as you know, and I do have I have a children's coloring book published, and I have 2 that are written that I'm going to illustrate, and then I have a novel. I have like several novels that I have like started. Oh, and this year the spoken word poetry, where I took just reading the poems, because I had just kind of had this idea of doing these like vocals, and I did do a bunch of vocal videos last year, but I didn't do any of the music. It's like all that free music you can get online and stuff.
Yes.
But this year, and as you know, it was the year I met a man who was a rap artist. Actually, his genre was grunge, hip hop, rap, and I think he started out in a punk band. And he's the one who said to me when I was asked, I said something one day about wanting to find someone to score the music for my spoken word poetry album. And he says, why don't you just do it yourself? Brilliant. So, okay, why that matters, that big, long laundry list. And that's not even everything. I'm sure I missed something in there. I've produced things. I've directed things. I have written things. Anyway. The point I'm getting at is this part of here, what you talk about, whatever medium. One of my biggest frustrations, annoyances when I show anybody my actual paintings is them asking me, well, what medium did you use? I have had to learn to remain calm when I get that question. Okay. Because I've had, like, most of these, yeah. There's watercolor, there's acrylic, there's some of them have pencil colors, some have charcoal. Like, there's so many different actual tangible mediums in one painting, and I'm like, why do you want me to answer this question?
Well, it's something sexy to ask, because it makes them look like an artist too.
Thank you. Exactly. And that's why I finally kind of stopped getting upset about it, because someone had said something similar to what you said, where Dori, that's probably someone that just doesn't know how to articulate a tip, like an actual question to get your attention or to have a conversation with you. And then I have to remind myself, Greg, that at least someone's fucking asking, because So can you tell anyone, the people, we do have some people watching. If you're watching, go ahead and throw us up a comment or a question. Can you tell me what are all of your variations of art similar to what I just named off for me? Because I know
I was laughing to myself, because every one that you stated is mine.
Mm-hmm. This is why we're friends. But I want you to
photography. I did the cover and illustrations to The Looking Glass, a short story poem magazine. I've done giant murals. I was an athletic director in a very boring gym I took over, and I absolutely went to the administration and begged them let me put up life-size murals to make this gym come alive. And so I went through the whole gym, the mascot, the name of the school. I did a Muhammad Ali in there. I mean, you named off is exact. Photography, music is my songwriting, is my huge one.
Which is poetry. Do you feel that way? I mean, I do. I've never written a song in my life, and I know they're different. They're very different.
You actually have. You just haven't put chords behind some of the words, the words that you've.
That does not shock me that you would point that out. Thanks.
I see things funny that way, don't you? When you walk down in the city or in the mountains, you say you lived, and I do too.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I see things in shapes and colors. It's very odd. I tell people it's a curse in a funny way.
Well, I don't know if I told you this, but I started segregating my photography stuff away from the painting and stuff, because this experience that I went through this year illustrating that haiku book, it took me down a rabbit hole of some photography stuff using my camera in a way I hadn't before. And I started doing pictures again.
Yes.
But the me now, when it comes to photography, I don't want to take pictures of anything really real, like not real. not really. And so I take pictures of things and I skew them drastically, and I make them.
I do agree. Yes.
I turn them into these pictures that are kind of like, well, what is that?
I love.
Do you remember that?
I love that.
Or something where it was like, what is this picture a picture of? Do you remember that? I can't remember what magazine that was.
Yes.
So that's what I've been doing with photography. But I wanna share this with you before we go on into our next part of our topic. So for those of you that are watching, self-expression, because our topic is about art beyond boundaries and self-expression for the artist. And the definition of self-expression is the expressions of one's feelings, thoughts, ideas, especially in writing, art, music, or dance. So that's the definition.
There it is, sister. There it is.
And real quick, because we were talking about songwriting and poetry.
Yeah.
And so the man I was referring to, the one who told me I should just use my own music, go produce my own music. Mm-hmm. This is in one of his songs. He says, anyone can rap. You are no longer special.
Well, all right then.
And here's why I love this line. I love this line because going back to what I said about the only adults that aren't artists are the ones that stop coloring.
Yep. Right on.
When I heard this in his song, and I told him this, he and I had a conversation about it. I said, you have no idea how akin to this statement that is. Because I truly do believe that we're gifted and we're chosen and that we have a talent that was given to us by a creator of some kind. But for those of you that are listening, and Greg, you can disagree with me if you want to, but anyone can be a fucking painter.
Yes.
Okay, so here's why I'm going here. Ego and cockiness and one artist thinking they're better than another artist is bullshit.
There's no competition in art.
And it needs to not exist. Yes, there's people that are better at it than others, of course. No shit.
It's all about self-expression. It's
about self-expression for the artist who's expressing their self, them.
Yes.
Them, okay?
Deep down from in your soul.
I feel like I just got on a soapbox, and I really don't care, because the whole point I'm trying to get at for anyone who's watching is this right here. When I told Van that I, of course, am a poet, and he's a rapper. He wrote rap, in music in general, but he also was a writer. Like, he sent me a book, some pages of a book he was working on, and yes, he was extremely talented. But this statement, I love the humility in this statement, is what I'm getting at. The humility in this statement. Here is someone whose talent was beyond anything I could have fathomed. But yet he was still willing to say, you can rap. Because he says to me, and I don't have this quote in here, but he says to me, you know, Dori, spoken word poetry is the gateway drug to rapping.
He's correct.
And I'm like, no. Okay. So let's go on. Okay. So these are the traditional subdivisions of the arts, according to Google. We've got architecture, which, as I know as a photographer, and some of the pictures that I've seen of your stuff that you've done photography-wise, architecture is probably something that draws your eye, right?
Very much, very much. I love cityscapes.
I could tell from some of your work. Sculpture.
Oh, yeah.
Painting, literature, music, performing, and film.
Woo!
Now, there's only 7 listed here, but do you agree with me, Greg, that these 7 is like a fucking like myriad of like we could probably name off the kinds of things that fall in these categories for like days and probably still not be done.
Oh, I agree. Those are spot on.
These are like high. This has got to be like the high top part of this categorization thing, because just take music alone. You know, I mean, the different genres of music, right? The different.
Right. And performing, it could
Oh
be
yeah.
burlesque. It could be
Yes.
a play in a theater in school, or it could be theater, community theater, or it could be on the big film, on the
Yes.
big screen. Or there, I see you got film there.
Yeah. Well,
Sculpture comes to mind. I'm from Kansas City, and it's a city.
I think sculpture might be one of the few that I haven't actually done. I don't think I've actually. I was trying to think about it, like I don't think I've actually sculpted anything.
I did early days, just through art classes, but again, another medium that just we live metaphorically and we express ourselves through these. I can look at every one of those and really everybody can tap into all of those.
Oh yeah. Well, and what throws me in my when I'm thinking about sculpture is like I am way kinesthetic. Like I want to be able to touch what I'm doing, especially when I'm painting. That's one of the reasons why before I transitioned to canvas and using watercolors and or acrylics, I used to only use charcoal.
Oh, I love charcoal. I love black and white stuff. It's so.
That's all I did. That was all my early work. That's all it was. I wouldn't
read so much in between that gray area.
I had to have my hands dirty. I had to get my hands dirty. I actually have paint under my nails now. I feel like
you should.
I feel like my life is on track if my fingernails are dirty from paint. I'm just saying.
Even a farmer is an artist. And he's caked with it's a mark of your trade. I got calluses on my finger built up from guitar playing. You carry these tattoos of.
Well, in art,
sort.
The performance thing, like there's so much different art to life in general. Just even the way we speak. And the reason I go there is because spoken.
Oh, I love that. Yes, it is.
This journey that I had this year with doing the spoken word poetry videos that I did, even though I had done the ones last year, these were different in the sense that the vocal recordings are far more performances as opposed to reading the poem. Like yes. all I pretty much think I did for the most part on the ones I did last year and produced was vocals. Like I read I read the poem. But Magic Man, I performed the poem.
Very nice.
Very significant difference. So then I knew you'd know, but I came across this one on the same list. It said there's also what they call 7 liberal arts.
Okay.
Which are grammar, logic, rhetoric, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy.
Woo!
And I figured I had to show you this list because
I love it.
As the musician.
Well, all those I thought it was a Scorpio thing, but it's an artist painting with words, leaving spaces. Yes. All those can attribute to that.
100%.
Astronomy is very interesting. That one.
Huh. Well, what got me when I wanted to throw this up was because I just did another round of pieces for the book I'm illustrating, and I have been using a ton of geometrical type shapes in different ways, including tons of waves. I know why there's a bunch of waves in my artwork right now, and I'll tell you privately, but otherwise. There's also, when I saw astronomy here, I know there's probably a much more technical way that someone can explain what this means as being a liberal art. But for me, like, oh my God, I have so many pieces that I'm like throwing the sun in there, or I'm throwing a hint to the moon, or using astronomy to convey a symbolic message of some kind in a painting. Those kind of things. That's where my head went when I'm like, arithmetic, fuck that. But I was watching, I say that, I'm like, fuck that shit, arithmetic. Geometry comes to mind because I was watching one of the creators that I watched. He'll go live and he'll sketch live on his YouTube. His name is Rich Parada. And he was talking today about the hands. Because I fucking hate sketching hands and drawing hands and painting hands.
You do?
Fuck the hands. Fuck the feet.
Well, they don't speak to you in the manner that you want to portray them as detail and.
I don't like. First of all,
I can appreciate it.
I'm not a realist type painter. I don't want to paint anything real. By the way,
I got you. I understand.
I'm very abstract. One of my friends, she actually studied art, and she said that the closest thing to really kind of describe my work is abstract realism.
Oh,
I didn't even know what the fucking name of it was.
I'm really attracted to impressionism, which is again not spot on like a photographic piece.
And he was explaining the human hand and anatomy and geometry came up because part of his and I'm not even going to try to rephrase or phrase what he said because I don't have his skill. I don't have his skill, but geometry plays into art, I would imagine, where like for those out there that do the kind of art where they have to be very, very specific to scale or to come off real. Geometry probably plays a huge part in their art.
I suspect that is to be true. Architecture maybe too is you have to be precise, but
yeah.
Isn't this lovely? I'm glad you brought this up because that's even more arenas that I didn't think of.
That's exactly, and that's why
now we're getting into isn't life art?
Oh, 100%. Like everything we do is like a walking, talking, breathing masterpiece.
I agree.
And it's something else. If you ask me, it's just something else. And so then of course the whole, we can't talk about, going back to what self-expression means, right? The expressions of feelings, thoughts, ideas. Right. I can't answer for you. What does it mean to be authentic in your self-expression? But this is a perfect time for me to segue into what it means for me. I am 51 and I've lived in the real world a long time. And I think the world is beautiful. I really do. People are great. The world is beautiful. I love my children. My youngest boy is Tyler, by the way. We both have Tyler. Right? Yes. Okay. And, but you know what? The world's fucked up. It's really bad and it's evil and it's dark. And so for me, that's one of the reasons why when I do art, I don't want any part of the real fucking world. Really, not really.
I understand.
That's why my art is almost, for me, I try to make them all different. I have recreated a few of my own pieces this year. Pieces that I had done on paper that I wanted to do on canvas. Pieces that I had done on canvas that I wanted to recreate a different way for the book. I've done quite a few of those. But for the most part, for me, when I express my self-expression in art, the most basic thing I could say is I don't like to repeat what I do. I want it to be unique. I want it to be out of this world. Not out of this world like, oh, it's going to win an Oscar out of this world. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as unreal as I can make it.
Because that's as authentic as you can get, what you just stated. I mean, you can do a so-called series and make it the same theme, or each one is different and tells a story. But you just stated it's authentic, what it means to us, and you're telling a story. I've tapped, or I don't want to say critique, but you've shared pieces and I've chimed in on what it meant to me to look at it.
Yeah.
And remarkably, you go, that is spot on, Greg. Yes. which it started a friendship among you and I.
well, part of it is being kindred. You and I have very kindred spirits, just in general, and I think that there's that. And then there's the thing I know for me, the people who are going to be more drawn to what I do artistically are usually people who are thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Agree. No offense to anyone out there who is in a narrow-minded, or not narrow-minded, but like if they're in just kind of a one ticket kind of one. I know there's a way of putting this that's not offensive.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to.
Everybody's offended nowadays.
Oh my God. But yeah, so that for me, that's why and I am doing the haiku series I did is the first time that I've ever done anything where there was a method to it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like, it was really the first time I ever sat down to do something artistically with a plan or some kind of method in mind. That was the first time, really.
Got you.
Because up until then, it was like, yeah, whatever. It's going to be what it is.
And also, speaking of this, we shouldn't be offended by the way somebody looks at a piece or hears a piece that we've presented mainly to express ourselves of what it means to them.
Exactly.
Saying, oh, no, that's not what I meant. That's wrong. It's what it invokes something in them. And that's what ultimately we're trying to do.
100%.
And we do it in everyday life, too. Just a conversation where you and I are having, or somebody in the hall out here I pass.
Right.
Or on the street. Isn't it lovely?
Well, so now you give me yours. You tell me what is, like, if you had to figure out, if you had to generalize what it is about your work overall that's the most authentic for your self-expression, what is it?
Oh, child. Usually I want all my pieces to tell a story. To invoke movement or to invoke a feeling. But normally, almost always, it's personal. But it's underlying. And
right,
it's almost selfish because I do it to express in these different medium manners, like all of those you told. It's very personal, but I want somebody to feel the joy I'm feeling, or invoke some kind of feeling in them, or on a memory, or put them in a place, because I know that's what all my pieces do for me anyway. And we all hope that's what happens when we express.
I love that. Tell a story. And whether it's sometimes I'm just trying to convey a message, sometimes a full-on story.
That's it too. It could be just a short snippet of something important to you. Yeah.
So I'm gonna transition us into the other part of art and what it can do for people and personalize it. So this question, I threw up this question, and that's for our viewers. We do have people watching, so I know you're there. So the question is for you. Tell us what gives you your self-expression in your life. And I put in your life because, I know that all of us can be an artist. I know that everyone out there is an artist. Not everybody identifies as an artist, and it's not for me to say.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me to tell you you're an artist, which is why I worded the question like this. So while we're talking about that, are waiting for someone to answer that, I'm gonna add this video to the stream. And of course, I've already fucked it up, and it's playing. It needs, like, probably don't play. It needs to, when I gotta, Greg, I just gotta figure out how to not have it start playing the video. I want to be able to add it to the stream and not have it play yet. Okay, so anyway, this is YouTube. And this is as you know, part of our series, as you know, this year that you and I embarking together on this journey we're doing, not just being authentic, but the book I'm working on, as you know, is called This Is Not Emotional Burlesque, and it's about letting people see me as emotionally naked as I ever really have before. And not just for me. This isn't about me. This is about me and what I can do to help anyone out there find something in them to allow themselves to be vulnerable.
Yes. There's a key word right there.
If anything I do today as Diva Dori or Doris Jones, the poet, or the comic, if I help anyone out there be honest, be authentic, express themselves, pick up a fucking crayon and paint or you know, color today, that's my purpose in life. That's what I'm here for. As I know my creator put me here for you. I'm not here for me. So why I have you two up here is because I will quite frankly tell you right now, Mr. Allen, my darling, gorgeous friend, I wouldn't be on this planet if it wasn't for the album Joshua Tree.
I was just going to bring up Joshua Tree. Yes.
That's the snapshot of what we're looking at is the cover of that album. And I discovered this album in high school, and it is why I'm alive, because I was quite suicidal. I was a foster kid, and I had some really horrific things done to me, as you know, we've touched on. Right. We don't go into a lot of details, but if it weren't for U2's album Joshua Tree,
yes,
and the lyrics of those songs, and the music, and the just even the Irishness. I know that's going to sound silly saying like that.
No, it's not silly at all.
When when you're a freckled redhead, I know, like, I don't look like a freckled redhead because I have this is my silver fox gray shit going on. I was a redhead as a little girl. Like, I was this Annie. Okay, Annie. You've seen Annie. Everyone has seen Annie, right? Yeah. I was Annie. I was the foster. She was an orphan. I was the foster kid with the freckles and the red hair. Anyway. So can you think of a band, specifically music? This is what we're on right now. It's the music part. A musician that is why you're here, or part of the drive of who you are as a person in your life. You're in terms of your security as a person. Can you think of a musician?
There's so many in specific I could go over, but I would tell you more of a genre that stirred a soul, just this innate. I can't describe it. It's just a deep. It touched a nerve. It was it's blues music. Because it stems from the South, of the hardships of the people working in the fields, and their escape was field haulers and gospel, and they did it without instruments, working in the fields, and it got them through the day, and it got them through life. And those musicians gravitated through the cities, and it became electrified, and then clear to the West Coast, and it spread through the U.S. like wildfire, and it done something. B.B. King probably.
So would it be more blues as opposed to, or no? I mean, like, for some reason, I'm thinking of Loretta Lynn. Now she's technically country, but when you said hollers and stuff like that, I thought of Coal Miner's Daughter.
Well, that could be. I mean, that's a very Southern Belle type of person. I'm referring more to the cotton fields of the Black community.
Yes.
The hardships that was put on them.
Yeah.
And I had this just deep well of respect, and it always sat with me. Of course, I like rock, but everything stemmed from the blues.
Okay.
Jazz. So it is our impetus as Americans. That's why in Europe they view American blues artists as gods, and just the mere fact of this. That's what we can hang our hat on. America is blues. And it tells a story, and it always sat with me.
Isn't it one of the few genres that actually it started in America, right? It's not from another country?
No, right here, down south.
Because isn't that the same as jazz, right?
Jazz stemmed from blues, in my opinion.
Okay. I was going to say, are those considered separate, different genres?
Not, yes, but it's the blues had a baby, and they called it rock and roll, but jazz and blues are intertwined.
Whoa, wait, we just took a turn here. The blues, what did the blues do? Who did they
had a baby, and they called it rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is blues
was totally excited right now.
Blues was the embryo of everything that you're experiencing on the radio as you drive down talking about your U2 band right there.
So then I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna pause it on Mr. King. So
yes, one of my favorites.
So have you read Stephen King? Okay, so one, yes. You said one of your favorites, so I'm assuming you've read Stephen King.
Yes.
What?
I especially like the movie takes on his writing. Awesome.
So that was what I was going to get to next, was that Stephen King is not just one genre. And in my humble opinion, I personally feel that he is a sci-fi writer more than a horror writer. But I've also read enough of his books like Rose Madder and Dolores Claiborne and Gerald's Game, which are about very significant sexual trauma issues, molestation, being tied up. There's a lot of different themes in Stephen King's books. So anyway, I know what he's going for in those books, and I get it. What was your favorite? What's your favorite Stephen King related thing?
The Shining.
That doesn't shock me. I mean, I'm gonna tease you just a little bit. It doesn't shock me. It's most.
No, please go ahead.
Well, it's most people's favorites. It's most mainstream people's favorites, and it's most men's favorite.
I suppose so.
I
watched it so many times, and it might be even the cast of characters in it. As far as the movie part, Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, you can't.
Perfect. And he's one of my favorites. So.
Yeah. Well, have you seen Dr. Sleep yet?
I can't say I have.
Okay, it's really good. I've read. Now, of course, I'm not going to take up our time going into what my personal opinions are about the book versus the movie.
A lot of people state that.
Anyone out there wants to have a Stephen King conversation with me about The Shining offline, I will so go there. I could talk about that for hours.
I bet.
But so the reason I wanted to share my love of Stephen with you and talk about him for this self-expression thing is that, as I mentioned earlier, as a kid, as a teenager, I didn't want any part of this world. Now, granted, he hadn't written, when I was a teenager, the books I got into with Stephen were, The Stand and Tommyknockers and, what's it called? Pet Sematary, Christine. Oh, Christine.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the Stephen King I read as a teenager, and because I wanted nothing to do with this world, and as far as I was concerned, it was one of those almost like have you ever heard of what's called emotional cutting?
Yeah, tap it. Share more.
So emotional cutting is when you know that something's going to make you emotionally upset, but yet you'll do it anyway. It's kind of like masochism. It's like being an emotional masochist. Stephen King's writing and things were not, it took me out of this world and it got me out of the real world and the horrors and the damage that were done to me. But it also gave me a little bit of it as well.
I see.
In a way that was safe. I don't know how else to put it. So that was why I brought up Stephen. And then I go into my 20s and I come across this beautiful woman and I start reading Anne Rice. So the reason I wanted to share her with you is that she is a Christian Catholic. Same difference if you ask me. But I hope I don't offend anybody. But the reason I wanted to share her with you is because I wanted to ask you, do you have, who is your favorite writer? Not, out of these two, or just for you, who is your favorite writer?
I really think Stephen King has to be it has to be right up there.
Okay.
That would be my first one.
Okay. And is there anyone else that's kind of up there, or no?
Ooh, child.
Ooh, child. Like, does he have any competition for you?
No, he's the one.
So here's why I'm asking. I'm leading you down this road because I can't pick between these two.
Is that right?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't ever. Honestly, for me, someone trying to tell me to pick between these two would be like telling me to pick between my parents.
Okay, I get it.
And I'd be like, "Fuck you! I'm not doing it."
That's fair. That's fair. I can appreciate that.
Right? And why I wanted to share these two when we're talking about self-expression and art is, going back to this description about what self-expression means. Expression of one's feelings, thoughts, ideas, especially in writing, art, music, or dance. They were two people who put on paper my feelings.
I did have another one come to mind, and it might stir something in you.
I'm waiting.
This is off the wall, but he may not be considered a writer, but the things that he shared through that, Anthony Bourdain.
I don't know that name.
The famous chef traveling the world of.
Is he the one the movie Chef is named after?
I'm sorry?
Was he the traveling chef that the movie Chef was about?
I don't remember that.
Anthony Bourdain.
He unfortunately died very recently.
I know this man.
Had a TV show also, but some of his excerpts and writings were just moved me.
I know who this guy is. Yeah, it says he was a celebrity chef, author, travel documentation who started. This is so crazy because I actually, for anyone watching, make a note of a podcast called Just Joshing, and the Joshua Pantalleresco that does that podcast is someone who is going to. He has a plan to travel and interview while he's traveling. And it immediately made, like when I was reading what Anthony Bourdain does as a writer, the part about what it talks about in here, Joshua immediately comes to mind.
Okay.
So that answers that. So I didn't put him in here, and it's because for just timing, but those are the two writers, particularly in regards to our topic, because this is the next thing I was going to say that I have in our queue to share with people is about art and mental health and having the positive connection between artistic activities such as sculpting, painting, drawing, because they're known to lower stress levels and promote mental calmness. And it may sound as counterintuitive or as contradictory as possible, but Stephen King and Anne Rice, along with the U2 album, those were the reasons why I survived. Yeah. Because as you know, the Diva Dori work I do is for trauma survivors, sexual trauma, abuse, whatever, survivors of all kinds. And that, I know, for me, is why I got into art. It's why I got into art, and it's why these particular artists drew me in.
I think it's lovely, and I will study more of this Anne Rice, because I honestly can say I'm not up to speed with this.
Oh, well, Anne Rice, she has two different series. If you're going to read, it really kind of depends on which one appeals to you. You could start with, she has one-off books, like one book here and there kind of thing. But she has a whole series she did about vampires.
Oh,
and a whole other series she did about witches.
I see.
And so, quite honestly, it's not going to matter which one you start with. It will take you down a road of some of the finest writing, in my opinion. It's just my opinion.
It sparked my curiosity.
So then, of course, last but not least, I cannot talk about self-expression as an artist without bringing up Madonna.
Of course. Talk about reinventing yourself. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. Talk about being a sexually liberated woman.
Yes.
Who's unapologetic about who she is, what she does.
Yes.
What she says, how she dresses. Let me tell you guys who are watching, this was not the picture I would have liked to put up here when it comes to talking about Madonna.
It's very depicting, though. I have to agree. She sparked something in me as well.
Well, when you think, am I right? When I think about the topic, when I think about this topic that you penned for us, art beyond boundaries, self-expression. Can you think of anyone? Can you think of anyone who speaks to your quote more than Madonna?
I think she's right up there. I think Cher could be put in there.
Ooh, good point. Okay. Who else? Who else would be a good example of this?
Oh my Lord. Oh, those are two prime examples. Lucille Ball was also that's way off the course, but
Lucille, no, you're right. Lucille Ball definitely comes to mind. Bette Midler comes to mind.
Oh my gosh, yes. There you go, right there.
Yeah, Bette Midler comes to mind.
Those are three or four just sparkling examples of our no boundaries, no bar hold, self-expression. Reinventing all over.
One of the more current, recent people would be Lady Gaga. Comes to mind.
Very much. Spot on.
Definitely. I do believe that there are some artists out there that try to be like a Madonna or a Lady Gaga kind of thing, but it doesn't come off like that. I don't know how to. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to put anyone down. But yeah, so I had to pull her up and I had to throw her up here for us to talk about because, awesome. part of what this entire topic leading to, and we're going to round this up, and we didn't even get to a lot of the talk about the mental health part of art and why it's important to be able to self-express ourselves and not limit ourselves when it comes to art. For me, Madonna and Stephen King and Anne Rice and U2 and the blues thing you were talking about, and how I don't know a lot of history when it comes to music. I don't know much history at all when it comes to music. I don't know history at all. I really don't even like history.
And I do not as well as writers that you brought up. We all have our not so what I want to say. We're not educated on it yet, but what I do is learn tidbits from people. And you just brought up somebody that I wasn't aware.
Who, Anne Rice?
And I take those and put them in my pocket. And that's another form of art we share.
Yes.
And it could be song lists. Hey, Dori, send me your song list. I really want to listen to what you're listening to.
That's a great idea, actually.
One of the most intimate things you can do for a person. It's that sharing.
My playlists are very specific to a type or a genre, or ballads are in one playlist, rock is in another playlist, rap is in another. Like, I don't have
Same here. Mine go in moods. I'm in this mood. I'm in this mood.
I do have a playlist that I started, that are more songs that say who they're like mantra songs for me. Like if you had, okay, so we can start there. Let's just do that. If you had to think of one song that is like the Greg Allen lead-in song, like the song that's going to tell me about who Greg Allen is.
Well, I'll go what the first thing that came in my mind was.
Okay.
Stir It Up by Bob Marley.
Stir it up.
Chink, 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 chink. Stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Remember?
No.
Most of Bob Marley stuff does that to me. That was
put
just one song choice.
Okay. I put Bob Marley on a lot of times when I'm doing, don't ask me why, but if I'm doing a canvas painting as opposed to other types of art, I want reggae on.
I agree. It stirs something in me.
I don't know what that's about. I don't know why.
Another song that I absolutely would jump off if I was on a desert island would be "Thrill Is Gone" by B.B. King.
So why the song I know for me, the song that, like, if anyone out there really, like, there's a whole bunch of them. Actually, it's not just one song. There's quite a few songs. Bad bitch or bad chick comes to mind.
Okay.
Brick House was definitely,
the ultimate dance floor filler.
I'm 5'10" and my stand-up comedy stage name was the Amazon Beauty, so Brick House was perfect.
There it is. You just said it.
That song, one of the Prince songs, not the whole song, but the one line in one of Prince's songs about how the chick had the nerve to ask him if he intended to do her any harm, but she was built like a I can't remember Prince's words. He says she's built like a, I can't remember. Anyway,
I can't either. I can't help you.
It's either in Little Red Corvette or I see. It's in one of those songs, and he's talking about how the girl is like crazy built, like she's not a petite little thing, but she has the nerve to ask him if he planned to do her any harm.
Okay.
And that one line makes me think of me because I'm 5'10". I'm like,
there you go.
Elastic Heart by Sia.
Okay.
Absolutely speaks to who I am as a person. 100%.
I'll listen to these. That's interesting.
It talks about, and I think you'd love it. I think you'd really love it because it talks about the heart and how the heart doesn't really break, and her heart's elastic, and she's not here to give up and give up on love. And I'm paraphrasing her lyrics, or whoever wrote them. The song that I can't play enough, that really is like the theme of this book I'm writing, like the entire book. This is not emotional burlesque. I can sum it up with the song Slave to Love by Brian Ferry.
Okay. I'll look it up. It is
a song. I've already done one like intro demo reel to that song. It's on my YouTube channel. And I would play it for you, but we'd get it muted and banned. Not banned, but we'd get it muted. Facebook would mute it, you know. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube just demonetizes stuff like that. They don't care. Facebook would, you know.
That'd be a no-no, right?
It's fucking crazy with some of the shit they do. But Slave to Love it has a lot to do with the theme of a lot of what's in this book, because I'm so this whole topic that you gave us to talk about, as much as I love it, it did bring up for me the mental health thing. And we're coming up on the hour, and we're pretty much done. So for whoever's watching, if you've been, we do have a few people out there that are watching. So I encourage you, please comment or ask us something, because we're winding down and we're about to sign off. So ultimately, art therapy, art and it's tied to mental health and stuff. It says here that art can take our mind off of everyday life and provides a relaxing distraction. And as you can imagine, we're new friends, so you don't know a comparison, but I've done more art this year than I have in years collectively. And
you're spilling them out. Like, isn't it funny? It comes like a tsunami. Mine does too. And you can't control it. It could be 3 a.m. and you sit up straight in bed and go, I got to create right now. I got to create right now. You can't pick and choose.
Well, and the reason I'm getting teary-eyed or just even coming to tears just thinking about it as you're talking is because my year started off much like anybody else's. New year, new me.
Yeah, gotcha.
But new year, new me, for me, does not mean anything. Doesn't have anything to do with the gym, by the way, FYI, you people. Every single time, for me, every single time I have a heart, love, loss, whatever, this is where I go. This is almost, I don't drink, I don't drug, I don't sleep around. I have constructive, positive outlets.
Me too.
Okay, that's what I have. So in February, from February till now, I have just been on just mad dog creatively.
Me too.
Just mad dog.
Okay. Well, I'm right there with you. We're surfing together.
Like, even to the point, and here's what's really crazy, even to the point where I couldn't seem to shave any weight of any kind. And one, I'm perfect as I am, by the way. For anyone who's listening, I love my body. It's fucking rad. Okay. I'm just saying. But I had let some weight come on with the whole COVID and staying at home and being at home thing. And I've lost it all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No gym, no lover. Okay, no gym, no lover, no nothing, no hiking, no boogie boarding, no physical anything to explain any of this. You know why I lost the 24 fucking pounds? Because I'm so crazy busy, insanely obsessed on art till 3 a.m. like you said.
I know.
I'm sitting here going, I forgot to eat.
Got you. I understand.
So, to make a long story short, what to you does this statement do? Like, what does it tell you? It takes your mind out. For you, how does art do this for you?
Oh, Lord, Dori, it does. I can sit down and all of a sudden 3 hours have gone by.
Right?
And I don't know where the time went. It's a beautiful feeling.
Right?
That I was transported into this realm that exists only by diving into something like, we're talking art.
Yeah. Does this happen? I'm just going to stop you. I know you do tons of kinds of art like I do. Does it happen more with one genre or more with like songwriting as opposed to
all of them?
All of them.
All
okay.
of them.
Doesn't matter.
It can be every one of them.
Okay.
Maybe that's why we're so attracted to every style we throw into our life. Photography does the same thing to me. I'll just get lost walking downtown, shooting or the mountains. It's the same across the board. A good conversation does this to me too. Conversation is art to me.
Oh yeah.
The way we convey and banter, space, taking in that person. It's almost like lovemaking. It's conversation is right up there with me as the big kahuna.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I think I thought of this after our last Diva talk. Because briefly, and I know we're talking about art, but in my opinion, lovemaking is art, and what we can do with our bodies is art, and it actually definitely comes to mind because I have done a lot of, there's quite a few pieces I've painted for this book of nudes. One is a self-portrait nude that's
All right.
I have shared it with a few people out there. There's a few people out there that know what that is. They know that's me. But foreplay.
Starts in the morning and goes all day, and it's a plethora. It's a story. It's a story building.
It happens. Foreplay's between the ears, first of all.
Yes.
Okay. It's in here.
Right.
The majority. This is just in my humble opinion.
Yep.
Okay, the Diva Dori with the skill sets and the life experience that I have. Yes, I am here, and my creator put me here for the survivors and the people out there who need a spiritual path to get over healing. But if you're someone out there who needs to find some sexual satisfaction in your life, I suggest you reach out to me as well. Or go follow Kamala Devi, because no one, just like art, I'm going to get on my little soapbox again. You ready?
I'm ready. Don't fall off.
Just like I was saying about art earlier, about the only adults who are not artists are the ones who stopped coloring. The same thing is true of anyone out here who is not satisfied passion, love. If you're not satisfied with passion and love in your life, fucking shut that shit down right now. Find a different partner. Get out of the relationship you're in. Get into a relationship. Whatever you've got to do. If that, like if you're feeling a hole in your life, like absent because you don't have that,
yes.
Go find it. Okay. And don't, whatever you do not settle on lukewarm. Do not settle for lukewarm. Do you agree with me? Like,
I have to agree. Yes. Well, perfectly said, and a beautiful ending to this. I can't even speak even more on that, because you just nailed it. You nailed it.
Are you having a feeling like you would rather be doing something other than talking after I just said what I said?
No. You put me in a loss of words there.
Oh, okay. First, I was like, would you just say no to me?
Oh no, I thought it was spot on.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add to it, because it was just, you nailed it.
Yeah. Well, it just, I wish I had it queued up, but there's all kinds of quotes out there that speak to this. But whether it's art, love, your job, your friendships, whatever it is, just don't settle on second best today or lukewarm. That's my Diva Dori tip of the day.
Amen, sister. Amen.
I've made some really beautiful friendships this year, you being one of them. And one of my other friends, we were talking, and she had a query on her show, and it came down to like, it came down to, I answered her to sum it up. The whole conversation was gratitude. It summed it up. But I'm like, for me, I could pretty much sum up the solution for any problem to gratitude. Really, because
it's the key. It's the key.
Because
I say it every day, all day.
When I get into a place of gratitude for what I have, I don't even have a problem. Even if the problem, like, there's really a legit challenge or struggle or whatever it is, it could be, sure. But if I get into gratitude, oh my God, I'm good.
I have to agree. It's the catalyst of everything. It humbles you, keeps you real. I try to start off every day with that,
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. It absolutely, it does. It just makes a huge difference. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think like that's, with our viewers, I thank you so much to the people that are watching. I love it here. I love, and it's fine. We had people watching, but we didn't have our audience participating tonight, which is fine. No pressure. Because I am just as much the one who's going to high five you for self-expressing yourself however the fuck you choose to, but I'm also going to high five someone who doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I you know what, I'm so glad that came to mind, because before I let you go, and I'm going to take over and just say goodbye to everyone, but I didn't even show my poetry or my art to people until 6.5 years ago.
Yeah. I think we had that conversation, you and me.
Yes. So if someone isn't ready to paint yet, to color yet, to sing, yet, to rap yet, even if, as Van would say, anyone can rap, you are no longer special. Even if that's true, if you're not ready, I'm going to hold safe space for you and encourage you. Sure, when you are ready, I'm here. I have a few poets that I know that want to self-publish or they want to publish, but they haven't yet. They haven't yet. And I've been there. I've been where they are. I've been that girl that was not willing to let anybody see anything yet.
Yeah.
So it's okay. For the artists out there, for the ones who are there, I can't speak for Greg, but I can definitely speak for me. If you, when you're ready, we'll be here. We'll be here to help you find. And I'm going to put Greg's quote back up, because I want everyone who's here or sees us at the end to remember, our art goes beyond boundaries. Our words, humor, laughter, spirit, sharing, whatever medium, we stand tall and proclaim self-expression. Even if your self-expression is to not exclaim anything yet.
Right on, sister.
Right? All right, my dear, I am going to excuse you from the studio, and I'm going to just lead. I'm not going to do much to say goodbye except replay our video for our survivors.
Right.
You're
Until
more than
next time. I enjoyed it immensely. Bye, everybody.
Mwah.
See you later.
We're misfits, weird, bizarre, strange, ignored, and sorrowful at times. We were bullied, abandoned, beaten, assaulted, destroyed, and wounded to our core. We are survivors, here to stay, despite what they say. Kicking life in the teeth and choosing it every day. Diva Daily Living encompasses a myriad of human engagements of life. Our topics have no limits. We do demand providing a safe space to hold for all survivors and lovers needing healing, support, and comfort. We're here to remind you that you matter and you can choose life today. I am literally not here for me. My creator put me here for you. Diva Dori.